Today, we're going to try and smooth up your turning using your eyes. How's it going? If you're new here, my name's James. I'm a movement coach specializing in the brain and nervous system. I work with athletes of all levels across different sports to help them improve their ability to learn skills and increase their performance. And my goal with this channel is to try and transfer some of that stuff into Speedcubing. So I recently made a video about solving cubes using metronomes. Do go check it out if you haven't seen it already. But what most people kind of agree with metronomes is they tend to make the solves fairly robotic in nature. Now, I'm a huge advocate for becoming competent at both robotic turning and smooth turning. So for the sake of balance, we're going to have a look at smooth turning in this video. Now, it might seem a little weird to suggest that the smooth turning can in any way come from the eyes, and please do brace yourselves because in some of the other vision videos I've got coming later on, it gets a whole lot weirder. But I'm going to do my best to explain a little bit about why that might be in this video. One thing it can be helpful to know is that vision in the brain actually takes up about 50% of all the neurons that you have. So half of your brain cells are in some way related to vision and visual skills. And because of this, there are a ton of reflexes that we can utilize that have direct links to our spine and our hands. Basically, what tends to happen is when we use our eyes and body in similar ways, the brain saves energy by developing reflexive muscle firing patterns that make it easier for the eyes and body to connect in that particular way every time it needs to be used. And the topic we'll be approaching today is going to be based around distance, because your eyes cause your body to work in slightly different ways depending on how near or far they are looking. There's a number of different reasons for this. So when everything that you're looking at is really far away, that usually suggests to your brain that there isn't any imminent danger nearby. If you can see something that's miles away, it's going to take quite a while before it can get to you and cause any kind of a threat. Therefore, that's a pretty strong signal that the body can be a little bit more relaxed. Also, when you're moving and you're dealing with stuff that's far away, your body actually doesn't need to engage a lot of its fine motor skills and fine motor tuning abilities. It actually can just rely on more gross movements. So like walking and running, where you don't have to be perfectly precise every single time. Whereas when things are up close, like you're trying to peel an orange or paint a Warhammer figurine, you have a much greater need for these fine motor skills. So to summarize, far away means gross motor skills, no fine motor skills, and also low level of threat or danger, so the muscles can be relaxed. When things are closer up, danger is potentially more imminent. Anything that you're dealing with has a chance to go wrong much quicker, so muscles are going to be under a little bit more tension, and your body requires more access to its fine motor tuning abilities. And to explore this, we're going to look at a drill called a pencil push-up. This is a really great skill to use when you want to try and get a better kind of coherence and connection between the whole body. So I use this one a lot at competitions, particularly on day 2. If I've been stressed out, I haven't slept that well, and I find that number 1, my turning's all over the place. Number 2, I seem to be slower in my thinking. I personally find the pencil push-up tends to work well at connecting these two things together. So traditionally, this is something that I use in sports, especially to help improve core stability during exercises, as well as to improve speed and reaction times with better coordination of the limb. But interestingly, when I was running these drills in kids sessions, I had quite a large number of parents report back to me that the kids had started using it to help them prepare for exams and other things like that, because they found it gave huge benefits to their ability to focus and think clearly as well. So let's take a look at what the exercise itself involves. You are going to need a target to look at. Now, I'm going to be using this little thing. If you ever see me at a competition, you'll see me using this all the time. It's my own purpose-built tool that I use and I actually sell as a product. I'm using it really just for the flagrant promotion. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check it out. It really would help support me in the channel, but you don't necessarily need anything fancy. You just need something kind of small that you can look at. So I'm going to be using the little star on the top of this band. You can use a pen, you can use the tip of your thumb, just something that you can move around with relative ease. And to do the exercise, we're going to hold that target at the height of the bridge of your nose. So when you come all the way in, you don't want this to be down at the bottom. You want the target to be right up exactly where the bridge of your nose is. You're going to hold it at arm's length, and then you're going to nice and slowly bring it towards your face in as smooth a manner as you can. And then once you get as close as you can, you're going to go all the way back out. That is the entirety of the drill. Now there's a few things to think about in terms of technical details. So number one, you want your arm to be as steady as possible. So if you have one arm that shakes quite a lot, probably a good idea to use the other one. Number two, it doesn't matter if the target goes blurry, but it does matter if you start to get any kind of double vision, okay? And this is why it's really useful to use a small target. If I was to turn this around and just look at the whole white side of the band, it could start to split very slightly into two, and there's a good chance that I wouldn't notice it. So pay attention if you are using your thumb. You might even want to mark a little dot to see if it starts to split into two. That is a problem, and you probably need to go a little bit slower to get as far in as you can without that split. The other thing that I recommend you do is to actually film yourself while you're performing the exercise, because there's a number of things that you can see in your eyes that might help tell you that this skill is not as well coordinated as you might initially think. So number one, you want to ask yourself, does the band actually come to the middle of your face at the bridge of your nose? Or when the band gets all the way in, is it actually closer to one eye over the other? That would suggest to me that the eye it's closer to is actually a little bit weaker at doing that kind of convergence movement where they both come together. And so your brain is forcing yourself to pull to that side to make it a little bit easier for that eye. The other thing that you might notice, and I probably won't be able to show this here, maybe if I go fast enough, is you might start to find that one eye, while you do get close to the center of your face, one eye is actually just moving a lot quicker than the other. So one eye starts to move first, and then the other one pulls in second. If you find any of those things, so if you find you're getting that double vision, if you find it's really hard to do without both of your arms shaking insanely, or if you find that your eyes are having trouble at converging and then diverging at the same speed, that's going to be a pretty good sign that you're going to get some big results with this exercise, and it's one that I would recommend you work on regardless of whether you see any immediate results with your speed cubing time. Now, if none of those things come up, then the very next thing you're going to want to do is actually test it out with your speed cubing solves. So for this, I would recommend taking an average of 5, 12, then perform 3 to 5 repetitions of this pencil push-up exercise, and then do the same average again. Pay attention to your times and pay attention to how it feels. When this is actually helping you, you should find it's much easier to turn more smoothly at a higher speed, because everything is a little bit more connected down the center. So your spine should feel a little bit stronger, straighter, and your arms feel like they should both be working in tandem rather than one kind of speeding up, the other one slowing down and causing loads of lockups and a bit of a mess in between. And in terms of the exercise, that's pretty much it. So this one's nice because it's really easy to test relatively quickly. I would say you could probably do an average of 5 before and after and already get an intuitive feel of whether this is actually working for you. If you do find that there's some benefit, then additional things I'd recommend playing with. Number one is the speed at which you do the push-ups. So I found for competition, I actually don't go for 3 to 5 reps. I just go for 1 rep really, really slowly, and that seems to do the job. And then if you want to really geek out on it, you can start playing with different directions. So instead of going right into the center, you could start from the right, come out to the left, maybe start from up, go to the bottom. Every direction can matter, every speed can matter. It can be really useful to get an idea of what kind of things your eyes are comfortable with. Finally, it's worth noting that this exact same thing can be applied to the cube itself. So we talked about at the very beginning that seeing things further away tends to make the muscles relax a little bit. Seeing things closer towards you tend to make them tense up. For different people, that can manifest in different things when it comes to speed cubing. So for some people, you might actually find testing out cubing closer to your face has an actual beneficial effect. So by bringing everything closer, getting the eyes to work a little bit harder, forces the muscles to tension up a little bit, and that gives you the connection that you need in order to turn faster. For other people, it could actually be the opposite. So they're gonna need to move things further away because the muscles themselves might already be under too much tension, be too tight, or stress levels might just be too high. And that means that they benefit from holding things further away. Now, I'm not saying that that's the only thing that makes a difference between close up and further away. Obviously, there's loads of nerves in your arms, muscles in your hands that are going to react differently to these distances away. But regardless of whether the benefits come from the eyes or the hands, it's absolutely something that I would recommend you test if you want to see your actual optimal positions for speed cubing in general. So I'm going to leave it there for today. That is the pencil push-up for eye-hand connection. Do you have any questions about this one? I know the concept is a little unusual, so I'll do my best to answer those in the comments. There will be more vision videos on the way, and as we go through them, it might help to understand just how powerful the eyes can be. I usually tell people when it comes to speed, when I'm working in sports, 90% of all the work that I ever do comes from working on vision, whether it's how fast can the eyes move, how fast can they process, or how fast can they react to external stimuli. Ultimately determines how fast the rest of the body is going to be able to go. When the eyes don't work well, they tend to slam the brakes on everything else to make sure that we don't end up pushing ourselves beyond our ability to recognize the potential problems that come up. So thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next one.